Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, talking comics, movies, TV, and pop culture. Again, go check out roguematter.com for all the cool stuff that we're giving away absolutely for free, all the cool content you can consume for absolutely no charge whatsoever. All right, in addition to the stuff that goes on in Rogue Matter, there's been a lot of stuff happening in the world of pop culture. It's interesting because it's been kind of a it was like an overloaded spring into early summer in terms of movies and things like that, big, tent pole kind of movies and franchises that dropped. And then all of a sudden it's been kind of quiet just because post COVID, the scheduling is all kind of crazy a little bit. People weren't sure if it was coming back or not. Things got moved. And then the whole shuffle with Warner Brothers Disney also has now shuffled stuff in the future as well, too. Yeah. But that being said, there was the return of the biannual D23, Disney extravaganza, where they kind of unleash all of these new things that are happening. And but the funny part about it is, and I don't know if this is, again, we've talked about this before, right? Like everyone's social media bubble is different, right? Everyone's like Google News feed. If you do that, I have an RSS feed that pulls news and things like that. My general impression, and I want to know if this is the same for you, was kind of underwhelmed in terms of buzz, in terms of like what people were talking about, in terms of like the chatter that was going on. Like it didn't seem, as opposed to years past, where Marvel actually kind of saved their big announcements for this D23 show. That this was a little underwhelming, a little quieter. I think the only one that stood out to me was the Indiana Jones, news, because that was the first reveal of Indiana Jones. But other than that, like the Marvel stuff, I don't know. That was my general take. Kind of felt a little like I remember I kept looking on Twitter being like, oh, when's D23? Oh wait, it did. All right, did the big panel announce? Oh, they did kind of. All right, what's going? And nothing was like really trending in my news feed. And yes, Aaron, I agree with you 100%. They did reveal a ton. I felt like San Diego was huge. D23, not so much.
This is only like 3 weeks after San Diego. So like 4 weeks after I don't understand what anybody wants. If they had a big reveal at San Diego, then why would they expect, the D23? Like what more? They've already revealed both phases 5 and 6 in San Diego.
Right.
So what more was there supposed to be?
Well, now that's got me curious, though. Why? Like, why? I assumed that what they released in San Diego was huge, but that we would get something in D23 that was equally as
like what
mind blowing. And I think everyone's.
What could there be? Look at all the stuff that's on the board. What more could
everyone's
there be?
thinking was X-Men. They were going to start actually talking about X-Men, and especially with Miss Marvel.
That's why everybody shouldn't speculate. It ruins the experience for you. It does every time. Every time.
I think
I anticipate this is going to be mind-blowing.
Say, I'm expecting something big because in years past it has tracked.
No, I mean, yeah, you could probably do that. You could get away with doing that. Like, Christmas. It's Christmas time. I expected to have some presents under this tree.
Correct.
I get it. But as I was always told, because my birthday was in November, you just had a lot of presents on your birthday. So shut up.
Actually, it was always the reverse, and I liked it. I would get
eat your Christmas cookie.
But I would get a present for my birthday, and then the big load would come in Christmas, and I was fine with that. I had no problem with that.
Yeah, but I mean, during my birthday, if I didn't get a lot of presents during my birthday, I was upset that my birthday was weak. So they made up for it with a big Christmas. But if they want to roll it around, I mean, there's no way to win. There's really no way to win. If you're talking about like revealing all the titles for the next 2 phases, and then 3 weeks later, what the problem is? There's too many showcases. That's what it is. There's San Diego, there's D23, there's Disney Plus Day, there's
Well, so this is the thing though too, right? That's actually why I, in a way, am happy that it was underwhelming.
All this other stuff.
But this is what I'm saying. This is why I'm actually happy that it was a little underwhelming, because I'm a big San Diego Comic-Con fan, and the fact that they actually saved it, I was in in my brain, I'm sitting there going, okay, maybe they just, because of the uncertainty post-COVID about whether or not these shows were going to happen, is it going to happen? Because I mean, 2021 had a lot of delays, right? 2021 was, okay, we've got a vaccine, we can get back to normal. Oh, no, we can't quite get back to normal. Some companies postpone, some studios postpone films. It was one of those, everything was kind of in motion, in flux. And so maybe they thought, what's 2022 going to be? We don't know, so maybe San Diego's actually happening. Okay, let's drop everything for San Diego because we don't know if D23 is going to happen. On the one end, that's possible. On the other end, I'm thinking to myself, maybe the need for these D23 shows don't exist anymore. And we can, and that's good in my mind because it's going to bolster San Diego. It's going to bolster the C2E2 shows. It's going to bolster, the actual Comic-Cons themselves. In which case, I think that's great. I think this great news for the comic book industry because I think, in all reality, Disney and Warner Brothers could literally just put their own conventions on, not do anything for any of these shows like New York or San Diego, and be fine. I mean, I hate to be the one to let the cat out of the bag. They could just put their own shows on, make all the huge announcements there, and get just as much buzz, I think, as opposed to doing things at New York and San Diego. As a fan, though, as a Comic-Con fan, as a San Diego fan, as a New York fan, as even like a C2E2 fan, things like that, where maybe not as big a show, I like, though, that they say that they actually dumped everything in San Diego and not, D23, because then that keeps San Diego as a viable show. Because I do wonder and I do fear, what happens down the line when, Amazon puts on their own convention and Peacock puts on their own convention and Paramount Plus and, so on and so forth. Like what ends up happening to these Comic-Cons?
Same thing that's happening right now. That one show is really good, one show is a blowout show, and the other shows are underwhelming because there's so much content that could go around.
Yeah,
stuff runs thin after a while.
Yeah, well, that's an amazing segue too. Aaron, put up the Marvel Phase 5 graphic. And so we can kind of take a look here. So this is the next, slate of movies. Obviously we have no, we don't have any more Marvel movies this year, do we? I know we have Black Adam in October. But we don't have any tentpole movies. We have Quantumania, we have what's that?
Black Panther is also coming this week.
Black Panther. Yes. Okay. We do have Black Panther in November. Okay. So that's the end of, I guess that's the final Phase 4 film. And that one actually, I think is going to be huge. I really do. And I got to tell you, just the previews of that, and they showed new footage of that. I got to tell you, I'm a big Ryan Coogler fan. Like, he has managed to do, and I mean, I'm speculating, sorry, but I'm speculating just based on the footage. But I'm speculating based on just the look and feel. I don't know the content of it. I don't know the story of it. I don't know the characters of it.
Yeah, it could be complete. It could be a complete blowout. It could be crap.
It could be, but just the look of it, the look and feel. Like, I'm a big fan of his aesthetic, vision. I think his aesthetics, just from the trailers, and then also, going back to what Black Panther, the first one, was, I think is actually pretty cool. So I definitely think, yeah, I don't know. I'm a big, like I said, big fan of that. And so I think that's going to be huge. But then you roll into the next phase. Here, Aaron, put that graphic back up one more time so we'll walk through here. We got Quantumania. Ant-Man's always just been like, okay, it's fun. It'll be February. Like, what else we got going on? That's great. I'll go watch that just, for the sake of it. We've got the Marvels, spring 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy hits. Oh no, we don't even have the Marvels yet. When is the Marvels coming out?
I don't know. I think they're just rolling out footage for that. That might not be.
I thought that was coming out pretty soon. No, it's in there. It's in that.
Yeah, it's in the lower left-hand side. But but it's not on this timeline right now. But that's, but Captain Marvel is there, so obviously it's there.
Right. Marvel's release.
Guardians of the Galaxy is one.
Oh, it's July 28th. Sorry, July 28th, 2023. Okay, so it just has summer 2023. See there on that graphic? It just says summer 2023. That's why it says it. So, but it is apparently July 28th, 2023. I don't know. I guess Captain Marvel will be a big one. I think Captain Marvel will be a big draw. Thunderbolts, I'm personally curious about because I wonder if the setup for Thunderbolts in, MCU land versus what it was in comic book land. I don't know if you're gonna be able to pull off the same kind of surprise, just because the situations for everyone is different. I mean, uh, I don't. I'm trying not to give anything too much away based off of what happened in the comic book, but yeah, I'm just wondering if that'll, that to me is the one I'm most curious about is the Thunderbolts. Daredevil is probably the number one out of maybe that or Secret Invasion might be the two that I'm kind of looking forward to the most on Disney Plus. But like Ironheart is not our generation. It really is. It that falls into the Miss Marvel category, and Miss Marvel didn't have huge ratings. It had the last episode had huge ratings after it was revealed, like after the ending was revealed. Um, but streaming wise did not do as well. Now it could be that it was competing against Obi-Wan Kenobi. It could be that there was just so much stuff happening. But Ironheart will be an interesting one to see in terms of that and Echo. Like those are look in the mainstream Marvel universe. If you were a comic book fan, those are C-level characters at best. In my mind, in terms of popularity, in terms of, and again, I'm just talking about in the comic book universe. At your local comic book store, people aren't necessarily flocking to go. They've had to cancel Ironheart's series multiple times. Echo, I don't even think she had her own series at all, to be honest with you. She was a guest star in Daredevil. I know she had her own series now that they've announced her and had put her out there. But again, that's not a title that was regularly available in terms of popularity. I would so I don't know. I'm Werewolf by Night. What do you think about that? That's a cute one, right?
Oh, I don't know anything about it.
Well, I mean, it's a long time, right? It's a long time.
I never read it, so I don't know anything about Werewolf by Night.
I didn't read it either, but it's been around for so long. Like, so I kind of feel like it says like it's a special edition,
Yeah,
Werewolf by Night. So I think that
it looks
that could be
interesting.
cute.
I'll watch it. I mean,
Yeah,
but I won't know what I feel about it until I've seen it. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't care about ratings. Like, which one are you interested in seeing?
Like I said, I think Daredevil is just natural curiosity to see what the difference is when it's now on Disney Plus versus on Netflix, and that's just in terms of just the streaming. Ironheart, I have zero interest in seeing. I had zero interest in the character when it was released as a comic book. I have zero interest in seeing her. I know she's gonna be in Black Panther 2, so maybe hopefully, that kind of like piques my interest to the point where I want to go check it out. I have zero interest in Echo. She was in Hawkeye. It's good, but it doesn't blow my mind in any way, shape, or form. Secret Invasion. I'm actually more curious to see what they do with Daenerys in that. Emma Clark, right? Emma Clark, is that her name? No, Amelia Clark. Sorry, I'm more curious about Amelia Clark than I am anything else. I was not. I remember there was a big like 2 or 3 year storyline in Marvel, like where the scrolls were everywhere and it was kind of like a big deal. But I wasn't as into the Marvel universe comic book wise around that time, so it didn't grab me as much as something like Secret Wars might. Secret Wars. Okay, you got me. Secret Invasion. All right. That was one of those middle tier 2010 ish runs. So again, just based off the comic book stuff, I would say the biggest thing I'm looking forward to would be Daredevil. I mean, and that to me is a problem. And I would not sit there and say I would not sit there and say that Marvel's going to have a problem getting butts in seats necessarily. However, I do think until they launch that X-Men bomb, they're not going to reach the heights that they had in Infinity War and Endgame, and even No Way Home. And No Way Home benefited from the fact that there was already two other established Spider-Man movies to which, it felt as big, let's say, as Infinity War and Endgame were. Out of that list, which ones are you looking at as if you had to rank them, in terms of curiosity, in terms of things you want to do to consume? I mean,
I don't know. Secret Invasion, Captain America. I will Daredevil, but I'll check out Ironheart and Armor Wars. That's interesting. Thunderbolts, I don't know. It doesn't move me, but
yeah,
I'm not that crazy about Wyatt Russell or Secret Agent or U.S. Agent or whatever.
right,
He didn't do much for me, but
yeah,
I'm sure they're gonna. I'm sure it's just Marvel's take on the Suicide Squad, but we'll see how it goes. It's really Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, Secret Invasion,
mm-hmm,
Blade, definitely.
yeah,
And Loki season 2, and I like the Wasp. I like Ant-Man, so I'll watch that. I'll watch the third one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
yeah.
all of them. I'll see all of them. I'm happy about
I'll
it.
see all of them. But I mean, in all honesty, now Blade's interesting, right? Because I
Yeah,
would
but
sit
see,
there and tell you
I
that,
don't like to do that to myself. Like if I watch it and I go like, okay, yeah, that was great,
yeah,
then I'll come out and I'll be like, yeah, that was awesome. Like everybody should see it. But like I've seen enough movies in my lifetime,
mm-hmm,
to not get, fluttery and feel butterflies and stuff like that every time I see. I am very much anticipating Guardians of the Galaxy, definitely.
mm-hmm,
Because it's been like 5 years since the
yeah,
last one, and it's the wrap up, right? So they have a lot of
yeah,
strings to tie together, and before they
mm-hmm,
could close it out, it's James Gunn's last hurrah, maybe with Marvel, in total, but definitely
yeah,
with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So, that'll be bittersweet, but hopefully that'll be really wonderful. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, all of it is still interesting to me. Now, here's here's a sad truth. I wasn't a big Avengers comics reader when
right,
I was an X-Men guy. So
yes,
a lot of this stuff, Loki, Captain America, um, Ant-Man, or Iron Man, I wasn't an avid reader about this stuff.
mm-hmm,
So all of it, all the MCU has basically been kind of a, get to know your rabbit kind of situation,
sure,
throughout the all, all, what are we at now? We're at 4, we're at the end of 4, all 4 phases for the
yeah,
most part. And you already know how I felt about the X-Men franchise in the first place. So,
sure,
it's like utterly underwhelmed. So I was able to come into this like, oh, this will be brand new. It's kind of like House of the Dragon, whereas like I
mm-hmm,
had read the Song of Ice and Fire books, so
yeah,
I knew basically what was coming for up until about season 5
sure,
of Game of Thrones. So it was just about the level of execution for me.
mm-hmm,
But after season 5 and all throughout House of the Dragon, I have no idea what's going to happen. So I'm watching
right,
it like with a novice enthusiasm
sure,
for the first time. And so that's how I've approached the Marvel, the MCU for the most part.
yeah,
So, I'm good with it. Like I enjoyed Moon Knight and I enjoyed Miss Marvel. I enjoyed uh WandaVision. I don't know about Agatha, the follow up to it. I mean,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it'll be good. But
I
like
love that
as
actress. I'll watch it for that actress more than I will that character.
yeah,
Um,
and
because I think
unlike you,
Captain.
I really like Captain America. I mean, like the Winter Soldier, Falcon and the
Yeah,
Winter
yeah.
Soldier,
You know how I felt
and
about that show. Very
yeah, I
underwhelming.
know you go through it every time. But so
Very underwhelming.
it's I don't really. I don't have the same relationship with all of it that you do. Like, I don't look at it as like but I don't approach movies like most people do. I don't have an attitude like, you better entertain me or else. A lot of people have an attitude like that. It's like, you guys better entertain. Like, I appreciate that I was entertained last time, but you better do it again this time. I don't go in for that, because it's a finite prospect in the first place. There's no way that you can ever have a first time experience with anything again. So, like, if you're sitting in that theater for Endgame, and if you have an emotional reaction to that stuff, that's an accomplishment in our world all by itself, without talking about like the story beats and the build up to action, and the rise and fall and regress and stuff like that, act 2, act 3, that kind of thing. So, like, in order to get an emotional reaction out of anybody in the audience these days, because it's a very cynical audience, that's an achievement. But you're never going to get that again. You're never going to get something like that again.
Right.
So, like, to hold their feet to the fire on that is, to me, kind of counterintuitive.
I think there's a low, medium, and high grade level to this, though. I think there's a social contract that's in place where
the contract is like the last few, but see, that's the problem. We keep breaking the social contract, because the social contract.
I didn't explain what the social contract was.
I know, but I'm anticipating what you mean by the social contract. The social contract. If you
expect me to pay money to see you, I expect to be at least entertained.
But the only reason you're going to pay money to see them is because you were previously entertained. So
yes, agreed. And I need to be entertained.
That's part of the social contract. You were previously entertained, so they can expect your money for this time. If they don't entertain you this time, then you stop giving them your money. So that's it.
But again, I think there's a low, medium, and high to it, right? I think there's a
I know how you feel about it. That's not my approach to it, though. And I mean,
I understand.
But I'm saying, I think that
what I'm saying reflects what a lot of people also feel, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that either.
A lot of people, though, who cares about a lot of people? You asked me how I felt.
I am the voice of the people.
You are the voice of no people. You're not my voice.
Here we are now. Sure. Entertain us. All right. Which Phase 5 are you looking forward to? Put it into the comments. We will comment back all week long as well, too. Marvel wasn't the only thing they dropped at D23. When we come back, we talk about the Lucasfilm drops, and we decide who won the weekend when we return. Hi guys, Mike Dolce here from the Rogue Wav podcast. If you like this video, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It really helps us out. Leave a comment, let us know what you'd like to see in future episodes, and tune in every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern for a brand new episode of the Rogue Wav podcast.